The assessor of St. Tammany Parish has duly advertised notice of public hearing in accordance with the law. The deadline for receipt of appeals by taxpayers to the Board of Review, that would be here to the council office. We're acting as the Board of Review, will be 4:30 p.m. on September the 2nd, 2022. That's 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, okay? If no appeals are lodged by this date, or if appeals are lodged but resolved through the parish assessor's office, the time will automatically expire and terminate without the need for the parish council to reconvene to so declare. And now that I've read that statement, all we need now is we won't adjourn. We'll go into recess as the Board of Review, and we will come out of recess on the evening of September the 28th. We'll be in recess until then. We'll come out of recess, and that's when we'll hear the individual appeals, if there are any. So I need a motion and a second to recess. Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald to go into recess. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. So we are now in recess as the Board of Review. We will now take up our regular council meeting for tonight, September. And I would ask for Mr. Jimmy Dean to lead us in the pledge.
Jimmy Davis.
Excuse me, Jimmy Dean. Mr. Jimmy Davis. And Mr. Dave Fitzgerald to lead us in the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, we come before you tonight with thankful hearts that we can gather and meet, that we can make decisions as a group, as a community, that you will smile upon. That would be our hope. That we do the most good for as many people as we can, and that we stay firm in our commitment to try to do the right thing on all cases, and try to keep an attitude of a conciliatory attitude, not confrontational, as we all work together to solve problems in our parish, and also to rejoice in how wonderful our parish is, a good place to live. In your name, amen.
Amen. Ms. Katrina, please call the roll.
Mr. Dean?
Here.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Ms. Casabon? Here. Mr. Lorino?
Here.
Mr. Toledano?
Present.
Ms. Tanner? Here. Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Canulet?
Here.
Mr. Mike Smith?
Here.
Ms. O'Brien? Here. Mr. Drum?
Still here.
Mr. Bender?
Here.
Mr. Airy?
Here.
And Mr. T.J. Smith?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll read this first. The public comment, a 3-minute time limit is established for each member of the public wishing to speak for or against an item on the agenda except appeals. To ensure that all speakers are heard, please hold cheers and applause. Anyone who wishes to place a comment in the record but who does not wish to speak at the podium may fill out a speaker card and check the box indicating they do not wish to speak. On appeals, either side, both sides separately will have 10 minutes and a 3-minute rebuttal. That is for all speakers, okay? A total of 10 minutes and 3 minutes of rebuttal. With that, presentations. Item 1, presentation of proclamation of St. Tammany Parish Government Employee of the Month, President Cooper.
Good evening, members of the council, and those who are here this evening for our September Parish Council meeting. I have the honor every month to present a proclamation to one of our employees, and this evening I have the honor of presenting a proclamation to Mr. Mark Davis. Mark, if you'd come up, please. Whereas Mark Davis began his service to St. Tammany Parish in September 2020, just 2 years ago, for the Department of Public Works, and was promoted within the department to support services to administrative position in November of 2020. Whereas Mark is often the first voice heard when contacting the Department of Public Works. He works directly with the appropriate staff member and department or agency to answer requests efficiently. And whereas Mark is always willing to help, maintains a calm demeanor, and is very knowledgeable when it comes to assisting citizens with concerns and requests. And whereas Mark routinely takes on multiple tasks and is always willing to learn new skills and teach them to others. And whereas in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida, he earned the unofficial title of Director of Debris Removal. And whereas Mark is an all-around outstanding employee, performs his duties in an exemplary manner, and is committed to serving the citizens of St. Tammany. Now therefore I, Michael Cooper, as Parish President of this great parish, do hereby recognize the hard work, dedication, and accomplishments of Mr. Mark Davis as Employee of the Month, September 2022, and encourage all employees, our parish council members, and the public of St. Tammany Parish to thank him for his contributions and commitment to our beautiful parish. Congratulations, Mark. We're going to get a photo right here. Hold it. Thank you. Thank you. Did you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank y'all for this honor. I wouldn't be anything without the wonderful leadership of Public Works. I've never worked with a better group of people, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, President Cooper. Okay, next will be appointments. Item 1 is resolution to appoint John Rabley to fill a vacancy on the Board of Commissioners for St. Tammany Parish Sewage District Number 2. Mr. Airy.
Yes, hopefully we'll finally have a full board with this appointment. It's a very small sewer district, so I appreciate Mr. Rabley wanting to step up. So I move to appoint.
Motion to appoint by Mr. Airy, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Any questions? Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 2 is resolution to appoint Michael Boyd to replace Paul Upshaw, resigned, on the Board of Commissioners for St. Tammany Parish Water District Number 3. Mr. Lorino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move to appoint Mr. Boyd to replace Mr. Upshaw.
Motion by Mr. Lorino to appoint Mr. Boyd. Mr. Boyd, seconded. Who was that? Second. Dave Fitzgerald. Any comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Mr. Lorino. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Consent calendar. Any items not pulled from the consent calendar automatically approved in whole by one vote. Items pulled from the consent calendar discussed and voted upon individually. A majority vote of the entire council, 8, is required to adopt the consent calendar. These are the items that I have to be pulled. Under ordinances for introduction, item 1, ordinance calendar number 7067. That's Mr. Airy. Item 2, ordinance calendar number 7080. Mr. Dean. That's all I see here. Now let's see. Under resolutions, item 6, resolution CS number C-6655. That's Mr. Drum. And that's the only three I have. Any council member to my right need to pull a resolution or an ordinance for introduction? No? Okay. Anyone to my left? No? Okay. I'd appreciate a motion to approve the consent calendar without the items pulled. Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Ms. Martha. Any comments? Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Ordinance for introduction. Item 1, ordinance calendar number 7067, an ordinance to amend St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Section 2-125, 2-273, and 2-274 relative to parish purchasing procedures and professional services. Mr. Airy.
Yes, we've had several good meetings regarding this overhaul of the purchasing governing guidelines for the parish. We still have a few amendments that we would like to make to it. We're getting close to doing that, so I'd move to postpone for a month.
Motion by Mr. Airy to postpone for a month, seconded by Mr. Mike Smith. And that's all we need. Excuse me, we do need a vote.
Is Mr. Lorino on this key or?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Lorino, you wish to speak, sir?
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious, are we going to get those amendments, or are we going to know what they are just in general? I see this is the second postponement we've had on this issue here, and I was just wondering if they're the same two, or there are a few more, or exactly what's going on with that.
Yeah, I know of two, Mr. Lorino, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr.
Sure.
Airy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I think there's probably about 3 or 4 that we would like to make on a couple different sections proposed. And what we're going to do is type those up, have legal look at them, and then we'll submit them around to the council to review, and then we can meet with the administration.
Okay, so we'll get a copy of them.
Yes, that's why, instead of trying to do it here on the floor,
No,
we
that's
just didn't have
fine.
enough time to do it, and I want Emily
I'm
to
just
look
saying,
over it.
this will be, I don't want it to go another month. If that's the
Correct.
case, we'll just kill it if that's the will of the council, but rather than passing it on.
No, I think we're close, and
forth.
we've had meetings in
Okay.
the interim, so.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll look forward to the staff getting us a copy of the proposed changes. Okay. Please vote.
Mr. Lorino, just hit it once.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 2 is ordinance calendar number 7080, ordinance to impose a 6-month moratorium on the issuance of certain permits by the Parish Department of Planning and Development or Department of Permits for the construction or placement of automated car washes in the Highway 21 planned corridor, Ward 1, District 1. And so the public will know, Mr. Dean, as the council member, will just give us a timeline, et cetera. Mr. Dean.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to read something into the record regarding the ordinance. It's come to my attention that a few new automated car washes are being proposed in the Highway 21 planned corridor district. Unlike other car washes in my district and in the rest of the parish, these businesses will abut long-established residential neighborhoods. Because of the sensitivity of the proposed location, I believe it is necessary to review our ordinances to be sure that the integrity of the Highway 21 corridor district is being maintained and that there will be minimal disruption to the abutting residential property owners. Any changes to the ordinances will require a review by the Zoning Commission. Therefore, I am requesting a 6-month moratorium on automated car washes within the Highway 21 corridor district so that there is sufficient time to review the applicable ordinances and to propose any necessary changes to the ordinances that may be identified.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. We appreciate that. So, Mr. Dean, would you like to make a motion on that moratorium?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Mr. Dean for a moratorium for 6 months, seconded by Ms. Casbon.
No, to introduce the ordinance.
Just to introduce the ordinance, okay? So that'll be up for adoption next month. Thank you. Under resolutions, item 6 is Resolution CS number C-6655, resolution to concur, not concur with the City of Slidell annexation and rezoning of .470 acres more or less from Parish A4 Single Wide Residential District to Slidell C4 Highway Commercial property located at the southwest corner of Airport Road at Sunset Drive, identified as .740 acre parcel situated in Section 30, Township 8 South, Range 14 East, Ward 8, District 11. Mr. Drum.
Sir, it's .47, not .74.
I'm sorry?
There's a typo.
Excuse me, .47.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yes, sir. Well,
He's got it, it's right.
So
He just said it wrong.
we will either need a motion to concur or not concur.
I don't concur.
Okay, so you got to make a motion.
I make a motion not to concur.
Okay, motion by,
Well, what else do I have to say? I
no,
don't agree.
Well, excuse me, that is the motion. His motion is to not concur. Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay, Mr. Drum, motion to not concur, seconded by Mr. T.J. Smith. Mr. Dean, are you in there to speak on this?
No, sir, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Mr. Canulet.
Yes, do we know if this meets the agreement, all the terms of the agreement with the city?
If you look at the body of the resolution itself, it lays out what the implications would be under the Sales Tax District 3 agreement that we have with the City of Slidell. Because the property is not developed, if the council does not concur, it does not mean that the city cannot annex it, but it does mean that the parish would retain the Sales Tax District 3 proceeds for 2 years following the annexation. And then thereafter, the Sales Tax District 3 proceeds will be divided 50-50 with the City of Slidell.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jimmy Davis.
Yes. I think that the motion by our Councilman Drum is correct on this, especially with the fact where the annexations would convert this property from an A4 to C4, which is heavily commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm in agreement with this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, the motion by Mr. Drum is to not concur. A yes vote would be to support the non-concurrence. A no would be to oppose it, obviously. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Okay, there's, going to appeals. Let me first say that I'm going to go down the list of appeals that I've been told that there'll be a postponement on, and I'd ask the council afterwards, does anyone else wish to postpone? Postpone, I have Councilman Mike Smith on item 2. Mr. Shane, I know that y'all spoke about this, but I wanted to just be certain that you're good with that.
Yes, sir. Councilman Smith and I have spoken a few times, but again this evening before the meeting, and we're in a full accord that the matter be postponed until your October meeting, at which time we anticipate the appeal will go forward. But we continue to work together and appreciate the cooperation in having discussions about this appeal.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Shane. All right, and thank you, Mr. Mike Smith. Okay. Yeah, we are. Motion, Mr. Mike Smith, to postpone.
Motion to postpone for 30 days.
To the next council meeting?
Next council meeting.
Yeah, well, excuse me, till our October council meeting. Okay, second, excuse me? Okay. Seconded by Mr. Canulette. Okay, hold 1 second. We've got a few speaker cards. Okay, so Ms. Bourgeois, you have, I'm not in favor of the appeal and I do not wish to speak. Mr. Darren Bourgeois, I'm not in favor of appeal, so understand with a vote of the council to postpone, we will not be hearing this tonight. Is Mr. Bourgeois here? Okay, so please put in a card again next month, okay? And we'll certainly hear from you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Mike Smith, you still need to speak?
No.
Okay, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, does anyone else on the council that has an appeal tonight wish to postpone any? Okay, Mr. Toledano.
Attention is invited to appeal number 1, Susan Laborde appealing. I move to postpone that.
Okay, for 1 month?
I would say 1 month would be adequate.
Okay, so on item 1, motion by Mr. Toledano to postpone till the October meeting.
And I've alerted the interested parties about that prior to this meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. And I don't think we have any cards on this, right, Ms. Katrina? Do we?
No.
No, okay. So we have that motion, second by Mr. Davis, to postpone for 1 month. Seeing no other comments, please vote.
And I have another one too, Mr. Bender.
All right,
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Toledano.
Attention is directed to appeal number 4 for Rosalind Dufresne, Miss Ernst, Gordon Johnson. Again, I think I've alerted all the interested parties to my best knowledge. I move to postpone that matter for a period of I've asked for a traffic study on that, so in all fairness, I don't know how long that'll take, but I guess for the moment I'll postpone it. Do you know how long the traffic study would take?
I don't know for sure, but I think we project that we would be ready to come back in December. So 90 days.
90 days, okay. Allow me to postpone it for 2 months. I say allow me. I'm inclined to postpone it for 2 months at this time to try to expedite that.
Okay.
But if not, we might be required to do so. My motion specifically is to postpone item number 4, Mr. Chairman, for 2 months.
Okay, motion by Mr. Toledano to postpone for 2 months, which would be the November meeting, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Before we vote, so I have 2 speaker cards. Ms. Nancy Ernst, you're shown as the appellant. Ms. Ernst, are you here tonight? Okay, so I think you said you made everyone aware, huh?
I think there were some people here, and those that did come that maybe didn't have notice might have already vacated the building.
Okay, and Mr. John Vincent, second or third, is Mr. Vincent here?
I think they all left.
So you've obviously contacted them, Mr. Toledano. Good job.
Sir.
And let's vote on the postponement.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, then moving forward on appeals, our first appeal is item 3, Natasha Jones, appealing the zoning commission denial on May 3rd, 2022 to rezone .187 acres located on the southwest corner of Oak Street and Lakeview Drive, Slidell, Louisiana, from A3 Suburban District to A3 Suburban District and an MHO manufactured housing overlay, Ward 9, District 12, and that is my district. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Do we have anyone else speaking? sure.
These are opposed.
Okay. So, Miss Natasha Jones, please feel free to come on up, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I am Natasha Jones. First off, let me say, if I seem a little spacey or out of it, I am on a pre-op diet, liquids only for the next 2 weeks, and so I'm hungry, and my brain, my brain is not all here, but I'm going to do my best. This is one of my sons. I have a total of 4, 3 on earth and 1 in heaven. This is my husband who's here with me as well. I am requesting the overlay because I would really like the opportunity to have the option to put a manufactured home on the land. I have also checked out the insurance prices, and they do cover, and it is something that we would be able to afford. It is something, it's basically for us to have a home. If all else fails, we will have somewhere to live with our children. And there are lenders that are willing to help with the expenses that we need. And I know when it comes to a modular home, we have gone to check prices, and they told us it would be well over a year before they could even place anything, because we know we can put that on the land. Also, when it comes to building a house, of course, you need a lot of cash money up front. And the lovely people that are here, they have offered to help us with planning whatever we need, and we greatly appreciate that. But we do want to have the opportunity to be able to place one. We want to build for our family. We want our children to have their own bedrooms. We want a space where I can have my own office and work from home and do the things that I have to do as a mother and a wife, and for myself. So we plan to keep the area very clean. My husband has been over there relentless hours, pulling up weeds and grass off the land, just so that we could walk across it and say, you know what, this is something we can be proud of. And that's what we want to do. We want to be proud of what God has blessed us with. And we would never go into the neighborhood with any intent to destroy or tear down. We actually really like the neighborhood, and we love the area because it is a place where I don't have to fear something may just happen to my sons just because they stepped outside, or we have it fenced in and, you know, somebody would come in there. We have to be careful everywhere we go, but it's a sense of security. And that's pretty much what we're looking for. And I know that the biggest concern with the manufactured homes is hurricanes. Well, that's pretty much with everybody. I don't care if you have a stick-built, a modular, a manufactured. We live in Louisiana where hurricanes can be prevalent, but I have seen a manufactured home stand and a stick-built fall. No one is safe. No one is in the clear when it comes to something like that. It's all in the hands of God on what happens with that. You know, we can't just say, oh, well, if it's a manufactured home, it's going to blow. It's going to go away. You know, we don't know that. Nobody can know that. And the way manufactured homes are built currently, they're built to withstand the same way a stick-built home is. So we definitely would like the opportunity, like I said, if all else fails, that we would be able to place one. I'm not speaking for the entire neighborhood. I am speaking for our land only. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Okay, and on this one, he's in favor. Got another speaker in favor of the appeal, Mr. Jamie Lindsay.
All I wish to say is that I want this family to have a home, and I think they'd be a great addition to the community.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Okay, do I have any other speaker cards on this?
Either opposed or not in favor.
Okay, let's see. Okay, these will be people who turn in speaker cards who are not in favor. Okay, Ms. Penny Schuler.
Good evening. My name is Penny Schuler.
Ms. Schuler, let me interrupt you 1 second. I apologize. Just because I have 5 speaker cards opposed. Remember, on appeals, the total of the speaker cards cannot take more than 10 minutes, and then 3 minutes for rebuttal. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm just making you aware as the first speaker. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Penny Schuler, and as he said, I am against this. I've done a lot of research on this, and despite what Ms. Jones said, manufactured homes are not built to the international building codes that stick-builts are since Katrina, which was 2005. And during Katrina, we who had homes back there, our major problem were mostly the mobile homes. They were destroyed. They were all over the streets. They floated. There was debris. Our little subdivision has one way in and one way out. I don't know if y'all are aware of that. It does not go to Howes Beach Road. People could not get back there to even offer assistance. Red Cross couldn't come back there and offer anything. It took us over 2 months to get electricity because the electric companies couldn't get out there because of the mobile homes that were in the streets. We still have mobile homes back there that have not been removed. And that's what I have to say. But, you know, I did talk to FEMA, and FEMA has told me that it's not recommended to have mobile homes in flood zone areas from I-12 all the way to the lake, and that is the main reason, because of the debris that they cause. But mobile homes are rated for a 75-mile-an-hour wind load, where a house that meets international building codes is rated for at least 140. So when you consider this, you know, think about it. They did say also that if we were, as a parish, non-compliant, that it would make everyone's flood insurance go up. Now, they didn't say you'd be denied or you wouldn't get insurance. You're going to have insurance. You're just going to pay more. But I thank you for my time.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. William Cloud.
Good evening. I live back there in the subdivision. I live in a mobile home. My mobile home was affected by Katrina, but I managed to put it back together, and I still have the same mobile home. Right now we have more built houses than we have mobile homes. To go back to having more trailers than mobile homes, it could be a problem during a hurricane. Or, okay, there is an issue of foundations. When you apply for a permit to build a house, you have to have foundations inspected and certain requirements met. Mobile homes, as a rule, are put up on building blocks with tie-down straps. It didn't work for Katrina. It's not going to work for the future. If you're going to allow mobile homes back there, you're going to need to have the same type of foundation requirements for the mobile home that you would if you were going to stick build a house. The foundation is probably 1/3 of the cost of the house. if it is done to the requirements that the parish has. So unless you change the requirements for mobile homes, and I think it would be a mistake to put more mobile homes in the path in a flood zone area. That's really all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Clifford Schuler.
Yes, sir. My name's Clifford Schuler. I live in House Beach subdivision. For Katrina, my house was hit by a floating trailer. Another house across from me was totally knocked off its foundation, had to be demolished because of a trailer. We had a total of 4 trailers floating around back there. And I'm scared this is going to happen again. And if so far, no new trailers have been approved. The only trailers we have are people that were there before that come back right after the storm. We have many trailers that are back there that are not occupied. There's 8 of them that I know of. We have one in the middle of the street yet on Lakeview. Never been removed. It blocks the street. If you would have to be there to see what I'm talking about. The destruction from trailers just pulling up is just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But I don't want my house destroyed because of a trailer floating around in water. I really don't. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Annette Schuler. I'm sorry.
She doesn't want to speak.
I wish not to speak. My sister-in-law.
Oh, okay, thank you. Ms. Rose Schuler.
Good evening. My name is Rose Schuler. I have 3 children, 2 on earth and 1 in heaven. I moved in that subdivision in 1979. I lived in a 10 by 40 trailer. We replaced that trailer in 1985 with a larger trailer. And we added on to that trailer to make it larger. When Katrina hit, my home was destroyed. I had 8 foot of water in it. It took us longer to get funding from FEMA and the insurance company to make a hasty rebuild. So by the time I was able to rebuild, I was told I could not replace it with a trailer. Okay? At that time, I said, okay, pull up the bootstraps. We have to build a house. So my children were grown. My lost son was still on earth. Me, my husband, and my 3 children built my home. All of my flooring, my doors, my trim came from dirt cheap, okay? And that's how we were able to afford to build a home. I feel if to let someone come behind me and replace their, put a trailer in that subdivision now would be disrespectful, discriminatory. I don't know. I don't think it's fair that I had to build a home, and I'm not the only one that was denied the ability to put a trailer in there. We have another lady whose husband was blown up in his FEMA trailer, and it took her twice as long to build her house as it did me, but, she built a house, and she's living in a house now because she was told she couldn't put a mobile home back on her property. I just feel it unfair. FEMA has told many people that it's unsafe in a Zone A and a Zone Z to put mobile homes. I don't see where the justice is here. I had to work my butt off, You know, I would, you know, Miss Jones is going to be my neighbor. One way or the other, she is going to be my neighbor. And she's going to be welcomed. And she's going to meet people, and her kids are going to come to my house to sell Girl Scout cookies or fundraisers from their school or whatever, okay? We just don't want the danger of the mobile homes that they present in the subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. How much time does Ms. Jones have?
Just do the 3-minute rebuttal.
Okay. Ms. Jones, you have 3 minutes of rebuttal. Do you wish to speak on that? Sure, come forward.
I'd like to address that when she spoke about the wind zones. Zone 2 manufactured home is rated to be about 110 miles per hour wind, and that's not even, you know, a 3. It has, they said in this area, in a flood zone area, it has to be up to code to at least 160 mile per hour winds. So I'm not looking for something that is going to fall apart. My husband would block it, cement block it around so it wouldn't just go floating up the river. The gentleman here, his trailer didn't go floating, and it was there since Katrina. Like I said, there is no way to say what is going to stand and what is not going to stand, but we will do our best to make sure that it will be there. We want that option for ourselves. It's not saying that it will be built tomorrow. We don't know. God may bless us and we'll be able to come up with the money to put a house on the land. But we want to have the option to be able to put a manufactured home if needed be. And so that is what we are requesting. And we definitely thank you for your time. And I know for certain it will not be tomorrow because I'm still caring for my mother, which you all know just finished chemo treatment, and trying to care for myself. You know, so we have a lot of irons in the fire, but we definitely want to have the ability to play something for our kids. And yes, we will be neighbors, and we will be very good neighbors, and we will take care of our property, and we will make sure things are not falling down around it. And we are very, very grateful to even be in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. On the, I guess I can say the Schuler side, the other side, you have up to 3 minutes of rebuttal. You don't have to use it. You can if you'd like. You can use a portion of it.
The whole problem wasn't as much as the wind as it was the water damage of the trailers. And I'm gonna be honest with you, a trailer way up high in the sky, I just can't see that taking strong winds whatsoever. I mean, I watched what happened. I lived back there. I've been back there since 1980. I'm telling you, you would hit, our streets were blocked because of trailers laying in them. A fella that has a boating company way in the back, he had to get cutting torches and cut a trail out the street so he could get back to his business. But what happens if there's an emergency or something right after a flood? How do we get anybody back there? We can't. And like they mentioned, we have one road in, one road out of that subdivision. And that road's being taxed to the max with businesses they putting on both sides of it. We can't. I left the meeting from the zoning board last month. I couldn't get back to my home. A fella with a trailer with a car on it got stuck in the gun and blocked our one and only street to get in. So I had to park my vehicle up front, walk back to my house, come back 2 hours later to get my vehicle. It's not a place to have anything like that. Believe me, it's not. I thank you.
We have time left.
Yeah, a minute 45.
As Clifford mentioned, the trailer is going to have to be high. The minimum height, which would be in the front of our subdivision, it would have to be 11 feet. My home is 13 feet up off the ground. So yes, that is definitely something that needs to be considered when we're lifting mobile homes into the air. It cost me $40,000 to have the pilings driven. I don't know how much it costs to have cinder blocks laid, but, you know, it cost me a lot, you know. There is the one way in and the one way out. And with all the insurance companies leaving Louisiana now, our insurance, I'm not the only one in here, I'm sure, is going way up, okay? I really don't need another thing adding to my increased insurance. I'm paying more for my insurance than I would on my house note had my house not been paid off. I can only plead with y'all to please do not open the door for mobile homes to come into that subdivision. It's just not, the streets aren't even big enough to make turns to get into the subdivision with a trailer. They have to go over people's properties. They have to knock down stop signs. It's just a mess, and I can only hope y'all see it my way. You know, not that my way is the only way, obviously. And I know Miss Jackson's going to take care of her property because her grass, she don't even have to cut it because she killed it all. She sprayed kill on it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Counsel and the appellant and those opposed, give me just 1 minute. Okay, my apology, and I'll explain it to everyone, including the council. So, I had our council administrator, Ms. Gina Campo, looking into this entire situation. And my reasoning was, I know this subdivision, it's to a large degree not built in. It's built in, but not a lot, okay? So to give everyone an idea, I ran the Louisiana flood zone maps where you can pinpoint a particular lot, an area, and it'll pull up for you the exact elevation, okay? In this one, and giving a little bit of latitude, it is at ground elevation of about 2 feet, a little less or a little bit more, okay? The mobile home would then have to go up just by code. And I did speak to this FEMA person that was mentioned. I was, when Ms. Schuler called me, I was kind of, I'm like, you reached somebody at FEMA? And, because all of the council knows the problems we have from time to time. Yesterday I came by the council office and Ms. Jean and I called and put the gentleman on speakerphone. He is a civil engineer with FEMA. He's been the person who has responded on behalf of FEMA to every post-hurricane event from Katrina through all of the other, up to Ida that have occurred in the general area, okay? We just listened for the most part. He did bring up wind speed. He did bring up when you go up high, that wind speed gets higher as opposed to at ground level where it's picking up shrubbery and trees and so forth. The other thing that causes me pause on this is that we do not, as a government, have a department that actually inspects mobile homes, okay? Ms. Gina was able to determine that. Our department that does inspections inspects stick-built homes, homes that are, you know, commercial buildings, that nature. Mobile homes are inspected by the state fire marshal. This gentleman went further to explain that at this height, you can't simply put a mobile home on pilings, whether it's wood pilings, cinder block pilings. You also have to run steel rods as anchoring systems, okay? Without us having a department in that respect inspecting, then obviously we don't have specific knowledge. I certainly didn't. I had not heard of this before, but then how often do you see a mobile home, and it's not the fault of any owner that wishes to have a home. How often do you see a mobile home up, you know, 12 feet in the air? So it really, he really recommended extreme caution, to put it at the least, okay? I asked him for his whole background. Besides a civil engineer, he's also educated in construction, building construction, and building construction science. He discussed things like having to put kind of a well to put the mobile home in so that it's secured by something more than just sitting on pilings. And with all of that, let me just say this. I know this area. I know it's low. That's no one's fault. Let me tell you the things that I think as I've heard. I respect the people that have built stick-built homes. I respect the people that are living in mobile homes. Everyone wants to have a home to live in. Some of the people here who are in stick-built homes started off with mobile homes. So someone approved those at some point in time. What I'm going to offer is different than what I would offer. And by the way, the gentleman, I'm not saying he didn't say this to someone else. He did not speak about below I-12. He spoke to me specifically, he literally, with Gina and I, went to the spot, the exact lot on the map, okay? And it's a combination of a low elevation that's very close to high winds, not a velocity zone, but right behind that on the lake, okay? We would have the same situation in other areas like Mr. Davis, if it was close to the lake in Lacombe. It's the location of that area, so to speak. A mile inland from that, I think we're looking at a whole different ballgame in terms of elevation of the land and distance from the lake. Okay. With that in mind, I would say this. I believe that Ms. Jones would be a very good neighbor. I very much respect the fact that she was here with her family and absolutely want everyone to have an opportunity to have a home to live in. However, and I did mention this to Gina yesterday, I said, you know, if I pushed overturning this denial, it was denied at the zoning commission meeting, not by an overwhelming no vote, but by a lack of yes votes, okay? And I know Mr. Davis and Mr. Drum know what I'm referring to, and Ms. Casborn, okay? But it was denied. If a hurricane came by us with a mobile home this high up in the air, and that thing came down and hurt anyone living there or anyone in the area, I would have a difficult time dealing with that, with knowing what this gentleman who's experienced in this field and having handled multiple events after the hurricane events. So before I ask for a motion, I see Mr. T.J. Smith would like to speak, so I'll go to Mr. T.J. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be as brief as possible. I noticed, first of all, that we postponed this appeal 3 times prior to today. And the reason that we were given was because, out of all due respect, Mr. Chairman, that you said that you were still trying to gather some more information surrounding this subject. And as I listened to both sides of this debate tonight, several things jumped out at me. Number one, when I looked at the staff report, every use around this property is mobile home except one, according to the staff report. One is undeveloped. And I hear you saying that's not right, but that's what I have in front of me as information, the best information available. So that's what I'm going to use as a part of my decision making, okay? The other thing that the staff report points out that's kind of contrary to some of the testimony I heard this evening is that there are more mobile homes in this subdivision than there are stick-built homes, which is contrary to some other testimony that I heard tonight. Whether that's right or wrong, it is what it is. It's the best available information we have available to us. The zoning commission vote, the third piece, as you so amply stated, was it denied because of a lack of yes votes. If I'm not mistaken, I think the vote was like 5 yeses and 3 noes. The fourth thing I observed tonight is that there's, out of all of the people in this subdivision, I don't know how many are in this subdivision, but I see there are quite a few streets in it. I only heard opposition from 2 families, one of which lives in a mobile home. The other family is all represented by the same household or same family. It makes me curious as to where's the rest of the neighborhood? Why aren't they in objection to this use being placed here by this family who has stated to us, number 5, that they are willing to take the risk of an impending storm, of having to deal with their home being destroyed. They're willing to take the risk of what it's going to cost them physically and financially to put a roof over their head with a mobile home. So if they are willing to take the chance, who are we to sit back and say, what if a hurricane comes and this family gets blown away? Well, the last time I checked, whenever the National Weather Service or any other service says to the community, it's time, a hurricane is coming, it's time to evacuate. That's what most of us do. We leave, whether we live in an apartment complex, whether we live in a stick-built house, or whether we live in a mobile home. We leave. And so I just am not finding compelling argument to say that this family should be denied the opportunity to live in a place that they want to live in based on their particular situation, based on some assumptions that we're going to make. And so as a result of that, I find it awfully difficult to vote to deny these people the opportunity to live in a mobile home in this particular neighborhood. Something just doesn't add up for me. And I would implore my constituents, the rest of you all, to consider these things, that we do what's right or we do something else. Not just for this family, but any family that comes before us who wants to live in St. Tammany Parish from a choice that they have made. If they decide that they want to live on the street, that's their choice. And they suffer the consequences of whatever comes with that. So with that being said, I just find it difficult to not support what this family needs. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Davis and Mr. Toledano, if I could ask, if I could interrupt you, because I need to provide a little bit more information, and I appreciate my colleague bringing some things up. Okay. First of all, and this is not a knock on our planning and development department, I want to be clear about that, but I've paid a few trips out to this area. It's not far, it's a mile and a half from where I live. First of all, I believe that they're taking the statement of 30 mobile homes and 5 stick-built homes from probably Google search, okay? And if you use Google search, like, for example, what's available on Realtor.com, to look down at any subdivision, built or unbuilt, what this subdivision has a lot of is trailers overturned that we currently don't have the funding to remove, okay? Some travel trailers parked on a couple of lots that are not lived in. A few large trucks parked on other lots, okay? One destroyed stick-built home. So let me just give you all the accuracy of it. There are 12 mobile homes in the subdivision that are not non-livable. There are 7 stick-built homes, and it could be 8, but let's say 7. There are 3 commercial metal buildings built on concrete at ground level, okay? So other than mobile home, we have about 12 mobile homes, a total of 7 and 3 that are equivalent to stick-built or that have regular studs, et cetera, et cetera. The newer houses, there's a new one going up right now. It's up high. But a lot of these houses have hip roofs. It's a different animal. So I'm just letting everyone know. In terms of the postponements, Ms. Jones contacted us the day of one council meeting. Her mother was in the hospital. She asked for a postponement. That's occurred at different times. And I hope her mother's doing well. I did want to consider it and look at it a lot closer. It's problematic. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Thank you, Council.
Yes, I look at it as land use first, because that's the whole idea with the zoning commission. Is it proper land use in this area close to the lake? To me, obviously, I think even with the mobile homes that are out there right now, especially the gentleman who lives in a mobile home and he's up here against this, I think it brings up brings up the idea about health, safety, and welfare we always talk about. It's not just the safety of the people that are living there, and a mobile home can come undone and run into a house and stuff, but it's also the young lady who's trying to get this manufactured home installed out there. So that concerns me and everything. I understand about the 5-3 vote and everything because the zoning commission didn't have enough people to vote. Now, again, if it would have been loaded with 11 votes and then it might have gone no, or it might have gone yes. But it's our responsibility to say in this area, if it was 2 or 3 miles north of this area, in an area that had existing mobile homes that didn't have to be raised so high, it wouldn't be a problem. Is that correct? I mean, I think that's what we all come down to. So again, I think I don't see any compelling reason to override the denial of the zoning commission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Toledano.
Just more of an informational question. I couldn't quite get it straight in my mind. Is the majority of this subdivision mobile homes such as what Ms. Jones is offering up, or is the majority stick-built homes? That's a simple question, and I don't know the answer to it.
Okay, so Mr. Toledano, let me just repeat what I said a minute ago. There are 7 stick-built homes, okay, depending upon when they were built, just like our building codes have changed.
I got that.
There's a number up very high, stick-built. There are 3 commercial buildings built commercially at ground level. So I said that's 10 that are not mobile homes. And there are 12 mobile homes that I see appear to be lived in. There are a number of them that are destroyed and gonna need to be removed from this area.
Right, but there's 12 that are actually being lived in.
I say they appear to be lived in today.
That's the part I didn't understand. Got it. That was my question.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Toledano. Thank you. Mr. Lorino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, this goes back to what I said many a times. Appeals are tough, no matter what you do. And, but you have to do something. I'm just, St. Tammany Parish has a lack of affordable housing. And we sit and someone comes up for an affordable housing. Rightly so, all the issues that we're bringing up are concerns, but it's still affordable housing. And there's still mobile homes, whether they're raised, whether they're on the ground, whether they're 500 feet up in the air and decide to fall, can still knock another house down. It happens in neighborhoods that are not mobile home overlays. So when I sit here and I hear someone says he lives in a mobile home, but then he has a concern about a mobile home, what the heck are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? On top of that, we sit here at every meeting and planning and zoning says this and planning and zoning says that. And quite frankly, I don't care what planning and zoning says. They have had their bite at the apple, and the way the law is written, most of them come back here for us to make a decision on. And I have one coming up in a little while. But the bottom line is, it's very difficult for me to sit here knowing its location is 1 mile or 2 miles from the water, and there's mobile homes sitting in there right now. And if this family, or any family, not just this family, any family, needs a house to get started, and I think someone out there said they started in a mobile home and now they have a stick house. Well, that could be what some might classify in their book the American dream. So this is a very tough one. And I'm going to save my mind for when I hit the button. But thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. O'Brien.
Y'all are correct. This is very difficult, and you make a very good point about affordable housing. However, I noticed that there were some people that were denied the ability to have a mobile home at a certain point after Katrina. And then now we would go back after the fact, after telling a whole bunch of people, no, you can't have a mobile home. Then all of a sudden we're going to switch and say, oh, yeah, I guess we changed our mind. Now you can. I think Jimmy also has a very good point about health, safety, and welfare. I tend to not want to ignore the expert from FEMA about the potential hazard for this. I think we do have a responsibility to look at health, safety, and welfare. And I, for one, don't feel that I know more than the expert from FEMA. So I would say better to err on the side of caution, especially when some other people were denied the opportunity to have a mobile home previously. That doesn't seem fair to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Canlett.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Yeah, this is tough. I like Jerry, grew up on the south side of town, and to put it in layman's terms, if you put a trailer back there and you put it up 20, 12, 15 feet or whatever it is, can it become a projectile? Absolutely. If you put a trailer in there and you let them put it in just at the normal, 4, 5, 6 feet up, they all drown. So I don't know how many people got to see this, but I must say I was one of the unfortunate ones when you got to stand at Old Spanish Trail by the interstate and you couldn't tell where the lake was. You had no idea where the lake ended. The water was at our feet. Past where we're talking about. This actually south of that is, as a crow flies, is probably 300 feet from the biggest drainage canal and the biggest pumps in town, which is even going to put more water back on that area. The lack of levees, really, for the area. The biggest thing that's going to kill us is the levees that they're putting everywhere on the lake, but over here by us. When they finish in St. John, you'll have St. Bernard, you'll have Orleans, you'll have Plaquemines, you'll have Jefferson. The only two without levee protection from hurricanes is going to be St. Tammany and Tangipahoa. That means the water's going to come up even higher. There's nowhere for it to go. So when I look at this, CCAN, I think of it as CCAN. If you're going to do something like this, they got the new modular CCAN homes that are great for this kind of stuff. They're almost indestructible, but, they cost a lot of money for the foundation work. I'm just not sure how a mobile home is going to do that high up, that close. Whether people get drowned or whether a house falls on your house when you die, the end result's the same. Someone can end up dying. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Casbon.
Yes, I'm just confused. At what point, I didn't hear about other mobile homes being denied. Ms. O'Brien was saying something about other permits had been denied?
Ms. O'Brien?
Ladies who presented said she wanted to go back to a mobile home and she was denied. She has her hand up, or she had her hand up in the t-shirt.
Do we know that for a fact from the parish? I mean, are the parish not allowing them to?
I can tell you that.
Right before because they didn't put it back. They wanted to put one back?
I can tell you that other mobile home overlays in this area have been denied in the past 5 years. I think that the planning department also looked at permits that have been applied for in this area. I think there's been one stick-built permit that's been applied for.
Are we doing anything about the people that are there? Because from hearing this, and the people accepted the responsibility, their responsibility for living there, they know what can happen. But it sounds like we need to protect those people that are living there and find them somewhere else to live, if it's that dangerous. I mean, I'm serious. I've heard nothing but, you should not live in this area, mobile home or stick-built home. So are we doing, you're talking about a levy going in. It bothers me that we have people in danger, and I can see us not allowing someone else to go into it, but if it's, if it's that dangerous, it's just a certain part that's bothers me.
Can I call the question, Mr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Dean. Let me be clear to my colleagues, okay? We don't talk about these things. Ms. Casbon, I can talk to you about what you just said afterwards. There's reasonable explanations. I think you're taking it out of context respectfully, okay? But please, every council member, forget about me as the district councilman, okay? I love for people to be able to have a place to live. I'm making my vote based upon all of the information that I've found and my knowledge of the area, okay? I can't do anything about something that got approved that never did come to us 8 or 10 years ago, okay? But I also want to say, I'm sad to have to say I would need a motion to concur with the zoning denial, but please, everyone, please vote your conscience. Thank you. I can't make the motion, Mr. Dean. Okay, motion by Mr. Airy to concur with the zoning denial, seconded by Mr. Dean. Okay, and seeing no other comments, please vote. A yes vote would be to concur with the zoning denial. No opposite.
The motion passes with 10 yeas and 4 nays.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Jones, I would like to take this opportunity based upon what Ms. Campo and I heard and my own concerns beforehand. I'm sorry that there were incorrect information about 30 mobile homes and 5 stick-built. That's not the case, but I did my research. But I would say this to you. Based upon what we heard yesterday, I'm not a builder, but I'll tell you this. Based upon what we heard that it requires to put a mobile home safely this high, if I were you, I would take at least a look at a stick-built home, because this is not, I don't think this cost is a mobile home that sits 2 feet off the ground. But I wish you the best, okay? Thank you. a motion and a second on a resolution, please. Motion by Mr. Dean, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Please vote.
The motion passes with 13 yeas and 1 nay.
Okay, thank you. Our next is
Number 6.
under appeals, number 5. Item 5 under appeals, Tim Militello appealing the zoning commission denial on July 5th, 2022 to rezone .35 acres located on the south side of Louisiana Highway 22, west of Timberwood Court, east of Bootlegger Road, Madisonville, from A2 Suburban District to HC2 Highway Commercial District, Ward 1, District 4. Do I have speaker cards?
Mr. Lorino, I think.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Lorino, I apologize.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do we have any speaker cards?
No.
No, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, this came up at the last council meeting and has spoken to Tim at length. And what we're kind of looking at is, Tim, would you come up to the mic, please, if it's okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
We discussed making a change to the zoning request to NC1, which would make it a little bit better and constrictive. And Tim is in full agreement, but you will have to request that, Tim.
I'd like to request the change to NC1.
Okay. So if that's what he's requesting, I'm fine with that. And I would like to go ahead and make an amendment to change it to NC1, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Toledano, excuse me, by Mr. Lorraine, excuse Mr. Toledano. I apologize. I need to apologize to one of y'all. I'm helping Riker this time. You're welcome. Motion by Mr. Lorino, second by Mr. Jimmy Davis. I need to go to legal here now, though.
So I'm just clarifying that this is a motion to override the zoning denial based on the applicant's amendment to amend their petition from A2 to HC2 to now be amended to NC1. So we first need a motion to override the denial based on that amendment, and then afterwards we'll introduce an ordinance as amended to NC1.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Everything she said was absolutely correct, Mr. Chairman.
And I'm not looking for trouble here, but I have to ask a question.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, I got you.
Mr. Jake's got something.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I just want to ask a question. Is being that this wasn't brought up at the hearing, are the people in the area okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Change? Okay,
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, and Ms. Emily, just a question. We do not have to go back to the zoning commission or anything. We can make this here and be done with it?
Yes, because it was advertised as an HC2 change, and because an NC1 is going to be less intensive, then you can make that change on appeal.
Thank you. I appreciate the confirmation there. Okay, seeing no one else, please vote on Mr. Lorino's motion.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, now we need to...
Introduction of an ordinance as amended to NC1.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Lorino, I need a motion as amended for an ordinance of NC1, seconded by Mr. Toledano. Any questions? Please vote.
No, it's just the intro.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, just intro. Apologize again. Thank y'all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, item 6 under appeals is James Lindsay appealing the zoning commission denial on August 2nd, 2022 to to rezone .35 acres located on the west side of Beach Drive, north of Ozone Street, Slidell, from A2 Suburban District to A2 Suburban District and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay, Ward 9, District 12. Let me just say, for brevity's sake, this is one that was just made it through zoning at the last meeting. I'm just going to offer this. This one was denied 11-1. It's a mobile home request, mobile home overlay in the same exact subdivision, about a block away, okay, from where the first one is, okay? And so what I'm saying to my colleagues and to the people in the audience, I'm not going to repeat what I said at the first one, okay? So we have speaker cards and, excuse me?
Yeah, the appellant.
Yeah. Okay, the appellant is Mr. Jamie Lindsay. Mr. Lindsay.
How y'all doing? I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. I'd like to state I've been at a bunch of the meetings for the subdivision here, and there's a few things that I just briefly wanted to point out. Since 2009, there's been one application for a stick-built house in this neighborhood, and there's been 5 applications for mobile homes. And I believe there would be more applications for mobile homes if they were allowed to be in there. Obviously, from that period of time, I don't believe anybody is really willing to build this stick-built house there, and they really want to put the mobile homes in that area. And the one that was denied just very recently, last year, it was denied by the Planning and Zoning Committee, but we did not bring it to y'all. The other party did not want to do that. And I'd like to talk about the building I had on Lakeview at Pine, the one we were just talking about. I did address planning and zoning, engineering, and it's 11 feet with the floorboards, 10 feet, underneath at that point. But as for the one I'm talking about right now, it's over on Beach Drive there. There is an existing mobile home on that piece of property, and that's why I have decided to continue this and bring it forward.
Take care of my chairman. Thanks for calling the question. I'm sorry.
Why I continue this to bring it forward, and I like to say the mobile home, it needs a full renovation inside and out, but the bones are good, as is the roof, the floorboards, as is the foundation. There is nothing not fixable or could not be made aesthetically pleasing with hard work and care on this mobile home. The reason why I chose the gentleman, Mr. Alberto, he had to leave to buy the property, is because he has the skills and resources to get the home in operational and renovated condition. He has been in construction most of his life, and he can handle the jobs needed to be done on the property there. He wanted the property to prosper further as an entrepreneur and grow wealth for the future. He, like myself, is a small business person who wants to be successful in our own American dream towards work, to be able to support ourselves through our grit, determination, and effort. There was a previous client that I was going to sell the property to, who would have wanted to live at the property, and I made an agreement with him, and that didn't work out. He wasn't willing to do the work necessary to do it, and the reason why I chose Alberto is because he's willing to do the work, capable to do the work, and willing to put the money in to do it. It would be nice to have an owner-occupant at this piece of property, and I would like to go on that route, but I'd rather go with tried and true on the person that I know who's capable of doing it, along with my oversight to make sure that gets done. I humbly ask y'all to give me the zoning on this this mobile home that is existing on there. I was going to continue this for the rebuttal part, but I'll go ahead and just try to get everything done tonight, okay? After the planning and zoning meeting, I spoke with several of the neighbors who objected to the the renovation of the property. I spoke to Mr. Cliff, Mr. Bill there, and I listened to what they had to say. And Mr. Cliff expressed the biggest concern was that the home may float away, okay? And I took this into account, and I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I've discussed the foundation, and we have ways to lay pilings underneath and attach them to the frame. That the building will not float away. That's not a problem. It's only 3 feet off the ground. That won't be a problem. Mr. Bill expressed that his biggest concern was the foundation on highly raised manufactured homes. He said he didn't like the beam type of foundation, and I expressed to him I agreed. I don't like that type of foundation, but and I told him that, you know, if the property was to need another mobile home on it at some point in time, that, you know, I'm willing to make sure that that's the piling foundation, okay, on that piece of property. That will be the, you know, the proper 10, 11 feet up, you know. But I did further research on manufactured homes. Currently, all of St. Tammany is located in Zone 2, according to the Manufactured Housing Institute. The wind zone is equivalent to 100 miles per hour for fastest wind speed for new manufactured homes. This house isn't new. But this house, just a year ago, on August 26th, made it through Hurricane Ida, a Category 4 storm there. And according to the National Weather Service, Mandeville experienced one of the top 10 highest wind gusts at 110 miles per hour, and Slidell had sustained winds of 90 miles per hour. So as I was saying, the structure is sound. The house made it through there just fine. Slidell had 11 inches of rain during Ida. This is one of the highest amounts in the top 10 rainfall amounts. There's no way I'm going to compare Ida with Katrina. It's just not possible. What I would like to say, though, is that this manufactured home made it through Ida just fine. And so did most of the other ones that are there and occupied. This house deserves a chance to be renovated. And, you know, there's plenty of houses in Slidell on slabs that were allowed to come back and be renovated and not raised, and hopefully nothing will happen bad again. And, you know, but I'm sure they'll be allowed to come back too. I was over in Lacombe on Clessy Avenue, and there are several of the older structures there that haven't been raised. I checked on the height requirements for that area there now too, on the lot that I have there, and it's 11 feet with the 10 feet boards. But there are those homes there. Madisonville, that last big rainfall flooded out my aunt there, but she was allowed to come back, and my grandparents' house there on 2nd Avenue, right behind the pool mansion there. They said that they were stepping on water, but, you know, we're a strong community, and all I'm asking for this house that's there is a chance to get it back into commerce and fix it up. If there's a way I can deny my zoning after this one, as long as it's not done by arson or something like that, I'd be happy to deny even putting a new mobile home there without permission. But I just want the chance to put the structure that's there, that it is 2.5 blocks away from the other piece of property, more further inland and higher up. Okay. And I just want the chance, like everybody else, to fix this house. And I've done a lot of renovations in the past. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it. If I need to rebut, I'll rebut. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lindsay, I'm told by Ms. Katrina here that Mr. Alberto has left?
Mr. Alberto, he did leave. His family was texting him and
Okay.
asked him to leave.
All right, well, thank you. I just didn't want to forget him. Okay. So, I don't have to assume, I've just looked at it. Because it's the same subdivision and the same closeness to everyone who spoke on the first one, am I correct about that? Okay. Just as I said that I wasn't going to repeat to my colleagues what I said, that doesn't mean that I can deny you the time to speak, okay? You're allowed 10 minutes. What I would ask is that if you want to speak, remember that we heard a lot of reasons for y'all why you were opposed to the previous one, okay? If you can shorten it, that would be great. If you got to use the whole time, we'll allow it, okay? So first we have Mr. William Cloud.
Thank you for hearing me. I said that I lived in a mobile home. After Katrina, I went to the planning committee and I talked to them about my situation. They said, you can keep your mobile home there or you could put a new one there. And since I was over 55, I didn't have to raise it. I'm at the height that it was before Katrina. I chose just to leave it the way it was. I'm 75. I'm ready to move out anyway. So to answer the question of I live in a mobile home, well, I travel 6 months out of the year, and I'm going to travel when a hurricane comes, and if it hits again, I will just take my mobile home out and sell my property. That's my intention. But as far as the mobile home that Mr. Lindsay's talking about, it's about 150 feet away from my property. I had 10 feet of water. His mobile home sits 3 feet off the ground. The zoning and planning committee said that it would have to be raised. For me, it would have to be raised to the 10 feet over the whatever. So, but since I was over 55, they didn't require it. They said you don't have to do that. But his mobile home would have to be raised. It couldn't be left where it sits. So that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Penny Schuler.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to address the fact that, yes, we are all together and we are one family. But the reason you don't see a lot of the other people in the subdivision is because they're younger and they're working. Most of us are all retired, except my sister-in-law, Annette, who's not going to work tomorrow. Okay. And this is like our fourth time here. So we representing the rest of the subdivision, if I'd have thought I needed signatures to say they represent it with us, I would have brought them. But I didn't know that would be necessary. Here's a picture of the mobile home he's referring to. It did not make out just fine. It needs total remodeling, outside, inside, everywhere. So if you'd like to pass this around and look at it, someone, this mobile home is not, and the property definitely needs a lot of work done to it, but the mobile home itself needs work, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Clifford Schuler, you gonna waive? Yeah. Okay, Ms. Schuler, appreciate that. Ms. Annette Schuler?
This is a picture of the trailer. I'm Annette Schuler.
I'm sorry, ma'am?
I'm Annette Schuler. I live at 56243 Beach Drive. This is the picture of the trailer. It's half a block away from my home. It's blight. The roof leaks, from what someone has told me that went in it, that is in a subdivision, that I don't even talk to because he's not a person to talk to, a child. And he says there's holes in the floors, there's no floors. When he walked in it, he said that it was like sponges and big holes. I mean, and when we walked just to look at the outside is when the kid came out and I talked to him and questioned him. There was no air conditioning unit like we were told at the last meeting that was brand new. There's an air conditioner there, but there was none. Okay, and that's all I have to say because I think it's blight. I'm sorry, but I think it's blight.
Okay, thank you, and we're passing the larger photo around. Ms. Rose Schuler.
The particular trailer that Mr. Lindsay is talking to belonged to Mr. Alfred Shafor. We actually came to a meeting, a planning and zoning meeting, to dispute him putting a trailer, but they had marked the wrong lot. As soon as we saw who it was, he was a member of our community, and of course, we didn't dispute it. Unfortunately, with all the red tape and all the rigmarole, we have to go through here in St. Tammany, he died before he got to move in it. Okay? That was well over 10 years ago. And that trailer has been sitting there getting old for 10 years. Kids have thrown rocks at the windows. Kids have gone in it. No telling what it looks like inside. I don't even know. Okay? Mr. Lindsay comes to all of these meetings with a reason. Because he is buying up the lots by us, either through tax sale or through getting in touch with the people. However,
Ms. Schuler, let me just stop you 1 second, please, okay? And I know you're a polite person, but I also know that right now okay? But look, instead of talking about Mr. Lindsay and what he does or doesn't do, let's just talk about this particular mobile home area, okay? Thank you, ma'am.
That's all. That's really all I have to say then.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing no one, excuse me, Mr. T.J. Smith.
You want to do rebuttal?
Yeah, same subdivision.
Wait, hold on. We need to see if there's any rebuttal. We need to give him an opportunity for rebuttal if there is any.
Yeah, I thought so too, Mr. T.J. Let me ask Mr. Lindsay if he wants to rebut. Mr. Lindsay, yes, sir. You have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes of rebuttal.
I'll be very quick.
Yeah.
It's true. People have been breaking into my house legally, rather than just asking me to come look inside of it. I would have been happy to let anybody come take a look inside of it to see the condition of the house. Instead, they keep breaking the lock that I keep putting on there. And one of the, I've renovated a lot of properties. I realize this property looks bad. It does. I sent a lot of pictures to Mr. Bender's email address.
And I looked at every one of them, thank you.
And many of them were houses that had been sitting around for decades. And I renovated them fully. And many of them, including with Plex plumbing, including with new roofs, whatever needed to be done to make this structure a nice home for somebody. And I've done this in every area of the parish, from large house to small house. And I've also renovated several mobile homes. And this mobile home I can fix. The floorboards are solid. The structure is solid. The roof is solid. There are some stains on the roof, but they're old. They're really old. Mr. Schaefer did do a good job of renovating the house, starting to get it done before he died. It was on the inside very much like a sealed tomb that had been worked on and left in good enough condition to redo. If I thought it was a complete teardown, I'll tell you, I have a complete teardown. Just for example, in another part of Parish, and we had actually gotten the mobile home overlay on that piece of property to decide that we were originally gonna renovate it, but we've decided that we're gonna go ahead and tear it out because we're not capable of doing it, and so forth. But I work hard at these properties. You won't be disappointed in this property. I asked for y'all to ask Chairman Bender respectively about the pictures that I sent and what I can do. I want to renovate my house just like everybody else has all over the parish. And eventually, when the house is gone, it's gone. That's what happens. It's Southeast Louisiana, or if it's past time for it to go, houses get old. But this house has life left in it, and I asked for the opportunity to bring that life back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Okay, Mr. Smith, back to you.
I think, I'm not sure, but I think Mr. Lindsay and I have some history. I think I've spoken with him on the phone quite a few times, I believe, about representing some property that he purchased and sold in District 14. And they were numerous, as I appreciate it. And the more I look at this particular case, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same gentleman. But let me say this to you. I think he buys and he sells and he fixes up blighted properties and properties that a lot of people don't want. And a lot of people, and some people do want. But if this particular property is blighted and someone is going to enhance it, then I think they're doing not only the parish but the neighborhood a real good favor. Otherwise, they're going to be, as I appreciate it, subjected to a continuation of a blighted property, as this picture evidences. So what do you want? What do I want? I would rather see somebody fix this up and get it out of a blighted status and put it in something that's more representative of what we would like to see more of in St. Tammany Parish. Final point. Why don't we, who have moved to St. Tammany Parish, just blow up the bridge, close down the airport, and don't let nobody else move to St. Tammany Parish? Why don't we just blow it up? If we have ours now and we don't want anybody else to move here, why don't we just close the door and stop cherry picking who we want and who we don't want, and make the quality of life that we experience in St. Tammany Parish available to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. T.J. Smith. Mr. Mike Smith.
Okay, so I voted against the last one because there wasn't a mobile home on the site, and they didn't exactly know what they were going to do, okay? I've had Mr. Lindsay do some work in my district as well, and it's kind of been like the other Councilman Smith said. He buys property, and we've got a lot of developers. Some are better to deal with than others. He's pretty much kept what he said he was going to do to the properties in my area. He did do them. And he usually takes properties that the only thing you can really put on them are trailers. And he'll either renovate the trailer or he'll pull the trailer out and put another one in. As an example, in the two, if I remember right, can't remember the second one, but the first one was a guy that was retired with his wife, and he was looking for an affordable area, and the neighborhood got a pretty good neighbor. If you don't, I don't know how 11, 12-foot high trailers are going to hold up in a storm. But I know that that trailer that it's already on there, that it's unlikely that that small a piece of property is ever going to get anything else built there except a trailer. And you've got a blighted trailer on there, or a trailer that's not in tip-top repair, and it's probably not going to be taken care of anytime soon. It's just going to sit there. So the next storm rolls in, and it's more likely to be a projectile than if you let this guy come in and fix it and anchor it back down. And I think he'll do a pretty good job on that. Okay, so I'm kind of inclined to vote with him on this particular one, voted against the other one, but I'm thinking I'll vote for this one because I think, all things considered, you actually will be better off with this particular trailer.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Toledano.
Just another question. Is there anything that would prohibit Mr. Lindsay from postponing this tonight on his request, fixing up the trailer as he said he was going to do, and then sort of represent himself back to say, look what I've done, and I've done something that would be a positive for the neighborhood? And is there any prohibition against him doing that?
I believe that he's requesting the mobile home overlay because he does not have a legal non-conforming use, so he does not have electricity or water at the trailer.
Okay.
So he might be able to make some exterior repairs, but he would not be able to put it in livable condition.
Okay, I was not aware of that. So he cannot improve that property now, that building, without this zone?
He may be able to, like I said, to make some exterior repairs, but he would not be able to put it back into livable condition without the mobile home overlay.
Okay. That answers the question for me.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Drum.
Thank you, sir. We just had a family come in here and want to put a brand spanking new trailer on a piece of property, a block and a half or so away from here. Now, right now, there is a trailer there, and it's a A2 that doesn't have a mobile home manufacturing overlay on it right now, correct?
No.
Okay. So so Mr. Lindsay wants us to allow him to fix a trailer that needs, I would guess, quite a bit of work on it. And this lady that was in here wanted to have a place for her family, and we just turned around and denied her putting a brand spanking new trailer on a piece of property. But yet we're asked to allow a, I don't know how else to put it, derelict, broken down, not new, needs to be fixed up trailer in the same area that's going to have the same conditions under the same situations. And I would be a heretic if I went any other way than the way I voted on the last one. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Ms. O'Brien.
There was mention of the lot being very, very small and nothing else could go on it. Way back in the day, there was a mobile home in a portion of my district in Mandeville, and it was removed, and certainly we did not have a mobile home overlay. What they did was they built the cutest little shotgun house. So you can do stuff like that. So it actually came out quite nice. It was very small, very affordable. So I wanted to mention that is what some people are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Davis.
I have a question for Mr. Lindsay, please. Yes, sir. How long has the electricity been turned off on this mobile home? Years?
Yes, sir. I believe after Mr. Shaver died, the property was, after he'd done the work to the inside, it just left as it is.
Okay, and if this case is overturned, does the mobile home have to be raised?
No, sir. It just needs to be renovated, just like the houses in Slidell that are on slabs, just like the houses in the rest of the parish that are on 3 feet walk-up that we're allowed to renovate. This house will be renovated and will not have those high-up problems that the last one had with winds or with water, because it will not be raised. Right. It will stay at the same height it is and has been at since just after Katrina.
Okay, so the mobile home meets the requirements of the heights at which it's supposed to be at now?
No, sir. It's grandfathered in, just like all the other structures.
Wait. Let us hear from legal, okay?
Yeah, I mean, once the property loses its legal non-conforming status, it would then have to reapply for all those permits and meet all the requirements under the code, including any height and base flood elevation requirements.
Yeah, it can't be built. Mr. Lindsay, it can't be built at the height it's at.
They don't have the other houses are renovated on slabs when they aren't asked to be raised to the new requirement. Is that what's going to happen the next hurricane? You know.
Okay, Mr. Davis, let me let you continue.
Yeah. My concern, because it is similar to the last case, although it's not close to the water you're talking about. And I think the last case we stipulated about how you'd have to raise that one, right?
Yes,
10 feet up in the air and stuff like that. And then the requirements that come in that you need skirting all the way down to the ground. Think about that. I mean, how's that even going to be physically possible with the wind gusts and such? I mean, so again, I don't want to go back to the case, but I just look at it. And now you're asking us to go ahead and do a override the Planning and Zoning's 11-1 case on this denial. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to raise that mobile home. So these are the concerns. I look at not just aesthetically and stuff like that, but the safety of it is what concerns me the most. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Drum.
Oh, yes, sir. I misspoke a little while ago. I am not a heretic. I'm a hypocrite.
I got to tell you, Mr. Drum, I did not think that you could top the nudist camp comment, but you have done so. But thank you for that. We were thinking about getting a cross with the hammer and the nails. Okay. Okay. Let me just say, without going into anything any further, the same things apply. You have to go up. Okay, and I just gave my reasons. So, seeing no one else, I would ask one of my colleagues to motion to concur with the zoning denial. Okay, motion by Mr. Jimmy Davis, seconded by Mr. Canulet. But I say again, don't worry about me. Look at the case. Okay. Thank you very much.
The motion passes with 11 yeas, 2 nays, and 1 absent.
Thank you.
And a resolution.
I'm sorry.
Just a resolution.
Okay. Jake, you want to make a motion on the resolution? Motion by Mr. Airy, seconded by Mr. Mike Smith. Please vote.
The motion passes with 12 yeas, 1 nay, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Under ordinances for adoption. Item 1 is ordinance calendar number 7016, ordinance authorizing the Parish of St. Tammany to acquire certain parcels rights of way and or servitudes for debris storage and processing, Ward 3, District 3. Ms. Casbon. Motion by Ms. Casbon, seconded by Mr. Dean. Seeing no other comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Thank you. Item 2 is ordinance calendar number 7020, an ordinance amending the official zoning to reclassify 2.088 acres of land from its present A4 single-family residential to a PF1 public facilities district, Ward 4, District 5. Mr. Toledano.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 3 absent.
Item 3 is ordinance calendar number 7024, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 2 acres of land from its present A3 suburban district to an HC2 highway commercial district, Ward 4, District 5. Mr. Toledano, we have a speaker. Do you want to hold on your motion?
Motion to postpone.
Oh, okay.
Taking note of the fact that Mr. Johnfro has been very cooperative. We're trying to work through some proposed restrictions on the property, but for the moment, I'm just not prepared to go forward. Motion to postpone.
Okay. Motion, and Mr. Johnfro, you do not wish to speak? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Mr. Toledano to postpone, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 3 absent.
Thank you. Item 4 is ordinance calendar number 7031 AA, ordinance to amend the 2022 operating budget amendment number 7. It was reintroduced as amended on 8/4 of 2022.
I'll make a motion.
A motion by Ms. Tanner to adopt, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Excuse me? Ms. O'Brien. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I had mentioned this previously. I was a little disappointed that we had all these items together. I'm just going to say I have always been a great fiscal conservative, and this is not about people. This is about positions and our funding. I'm a little confused how we ended up with a deputy CAO with no funding attached initially. What concerns me is that we have never had that position during this entire term in office, President Cooper. And it wasn't even in your org chart. It wasn't even a square that said vacant. It wasn't even there at all. I'm questioning the wisdom about adding yet another 6-figure income when we have a general fund that's going broke. We owe money to the district attorney. He's suing us. We owe money to the sheriff for the jail, and we owe additional funding to the judges. And honestly, I don't think that's fair to your employee. I don't think it's fair that we have to vote on something like this. I don't understand the sequence of how this came about. I personally feel it would have been much more appropriate to seek funding for this position, stand alone, and see if there was support for that. I just don't feel right about this. I did take the time to talk to some people in my district, and they did not believe there was wisdom in spending more money. Now, I will say you did have your CFO take a look and find some funding from your administration, but you're talking about pulling money from 9 different departments. I really wish it would have been done in a different manner. And what bothers me the most, like I said, is we haven't had a deputy CAO in St. Tammany Parish since August of 18, I believe. And that was because of funding issues. And like I said, I don't think it's fair to the employee or us to be put in this position. I think you put the cart before the horse. And I know in my district, they would not want me to support yet another 6-figure salary given the situation we're in financially. And this is not about people. I'd feel the same if it was Jane Doe or John Smith. It's about the money and the position, sir. Based on the facts that I've stated, our financial situation, and our financial obligations, I just can't support this. And I don't like the fact that I'm going to have to vote no for 4 things when I really want to vote for 3 and say yes. But I'm just saying, I think it's inappropriately done. I think you should have done it in a different manner. And given the fact that I come from a very fiscally conservative district, I'm going to have to say no. I mean, again, to reiterate, we have a general fund that's going broke, and we owe money to the DA, the sheriff, and the judges. And this puts us in an awkward position because, again, you have somebody legitimately who's been there since April. And I do have a question as to why you waited until July to ask us for funding. Your original ask was $123,000 in July. Now it's down to $115,000. But I hope going forward we never have this again, respectfully. I'm not trying to be ugly about it, but I certainly would not have done it this way. And I think I mean, honestly, for that amount of money, we could have probably had at least 3 code enforcement people. And that's a critical need. You never even told us what critical needs were being addressed. I just don't think there's wisdom in that, and I don't think it's fair to everybody involved, the employee and the council. And I just respectfully disagree. And based on the input that I had from my district, I'm not going to be able to support this. I don't know if I'm going to be the only one, but I'm telling you, I just don't feel that the sequence in particular was appropriate.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Seeing no one else, excuse me. excuse me.
Chairman,
absolutely. I didn't see
just
you,
for the
President.
clarification.
Yes,
and
President
of course,
Cooper.
Councilmember O'Brien, you're welcome to your opinion. With regard, and this is important to the public to know, we are not going broke in our general fund. We are not going broke. We're maintaining our general fund to support the activities that we're obligated to. What we do not have is revenue for our criminal justice system, which was lost with 2 sales tax referendums. We were able to fund a deputy CAO in our growing administration, just like we have assistant directors for each and every department. A deputy CAO position is needed in this administration to serve our citizens, to serve the departments, and to serve the parish council. We have more projects going on now. We have more initiatives underway right now. And this is a part of the administration that serves all of St. Tammany Parish. And yes, we have taken money from revenue that we do have, not money taken away from the general fund and other endeavors. So yes, we are able to support this position, to support our parish council and to support the projects and endeavors that we're doing. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, President Cooper. Mr. Canulet.
Yeah, Ms. O'Brien, I've got to tell you this. Way to go. Way to go. Damn right, way to go. So, people have interpretations of different things. I'm just a simple guy. And I'm going to tell you what my interpretation of being broke is. When you have more obligations and you don't have enough money to fulfill the obligations, whether it's a general fund, whether it's from the judicial system, if you have to pay out $12 million and you only bring in 8, that's just a number, you're broke. That's how it works in my house. You don't get to eat, you don't get the new car, you don't get to go to college. So we can say it whatever, however we can delicately put this as delicately as we can. But the fact of the matter is, we are short. And after the rescue money runs out, we're done. There's no more money to grab. There's no more money to get. It's just that simple. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Airy.
Yeah, just as someone who spent an inordinate amount of time on the DA's lawsuit the last couple of weeks, we are absolutely broke in the general fund. I mean, that's exactly what that is about. I understand we can parse words and say, well, that's because the sales tax went away 4 years ago or whatever, but we have bills that we have to pay that only the general fund can support, and we obviously don't have the money to do that. That's not a speculation. That's a stone cold fact based on basic mathematics. So I just want that to be very clear on it. I will say, and I do agree a lot with what Councilwoman O'Brien said, and I appreciate her position on this certainly, and can question the wisdom whether we need another position on here. But I will say that we did originally vote for the funds that are here in our budget, and we're simply reallocating those funds versus what was being asked before, which was an increase in that budget without actually going through and making sure that all the money that we had allocated was being properly spent. So the parish president says he needs another assistant in order to be able to do his duties. So, and he figured out a way to pay for it pursuant to his budget or the budget amounts that he could reallocate. So I'm going to vote in favor of it. Obviously, it would have been better to have done that in the first place and have maybe some discussion on whether that position was needed, but I understand what happened in that case. But that being said, I just do want to make sure everybody understands we are broke in the general fund. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we have a call to questions. So do we have a motion and a second on this? Yes. Yes, okay. So please vote.
The motion passes with 9 yeas, 3 nays, and 2 absent.
Thank you. Let's see.
Hold on 1 second.
Did you say 2 absent?
Yes. Loreno's absent and TJ's absent. Because he didn't mark himself out.
Okay, thank you. Item 5 is ordinance calendar number 7047, an ordinance to officially name the 35-foot right-of-way identified on the attached survey Compass Point, Ward 4, District 4. There we go, Mr. Fitzgerald. Thank you. Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Dean. I'll get you next time, Ms. Tanner. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Thank you. Item 6 is ordinance calendar number 7048, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 6.486 acres of land from its present A1 suburban district to an A1 suburban district and MHO manufactured housing overlay, Ward 2, District 3. Ms. Casbon.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Casbon, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Thank you. Item number 7 is ordinance calendar number 7049, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify, that's 2.46 acres of land from its present HC1 Highway Commercial District to an HC2 Highway Commercial District, Ward 1, District 1. Mr. Dean. Motion by Mr. Dean, seconded by Ms. Tanner. You okay with that, Ms. Tanner? Okay. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
Mr. Davis. The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Item 8 is ordinance calendar number 7050, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 3 acres of land from its present A2 suburban district to a PF1 public facilities district, Ward 5, District 6. Ms. Tanner.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Thank you. Item 9 is ordinance calendar number 7051, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 0.95 acres of land from its present A3 suburban district to an A4 single-family residential district and MHO manufactured housing overlay, Ward 8, District 14. Mr. T.J. Smith. Who wants to make a motion on this? Ms. Casbon makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
TJ, we hoped you wanted that passed.
Mr. Talladano. The motion is unanimous with 1 absent.
Item 10 is ordinance calendar number 7052, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 0.306 acres of land from its present A4 single-family residential district to an A4 single-family residential district and MHO manufactured housing overlay, Ward 9, District 14. Mr. Smith. T.J. Smith.
I move to postpone.
Motion to postpone by Mr. T.J. Smith, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Any comments? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 11 is ordinance calendar number 7053, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to 3.865 acres of land from its present A1 suburban district to an A1 suburban district and MHO manufactured housing overlay, Ward 2, District 3. Ms. Casborn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Casborn, seconded by Mr. Toledano. Yeah, there you go. Seeing no comment, please vote. I saw you, Mr. Toledano. You raised that finger.
I have a way to communicate.
You do. You do.
The motion is unanimous with two absent.
You just feel it.
Yeah, thank you. Item 11 is ordinance calendar number, did I just do that one?
Yes.
Item 12, ordinance calendar number 7054, ordinance to authorize St. Tammany Parish government to accept an act of dedication and donation for a portion of Bennett Cemetery Road, Ward 1, District 3. Ms. Casborn.
I'll so move.
Motion by Ms. Casborn, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Any comment? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with two absent.
Okay. Item 13, ordinance calendar number 7055, ordinance authorizing the parish of St. Tammany to acquire certain parcels, rights of way, and/or servitudes for debris storage and processing, Ward 10, District 6. Ms. Tanner.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Dean. To adopt, seeing no other comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 14 is ordinance calendar number 7056, ordinance to declare a tax adjudicated property as surplus property and to authorize the parish to proceed with the process for the advertising and sale of such adjudicated property, Ward 9, District 13. Mr. Airy. Motion by Mr. Airy, seconded by Mr. Jimmy Davis. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 15 is ordinance calendar number 7057, ordinance to amend the 2022 operating budget, amendment number 8. I need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Any comment? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 16 is ordinance calendar number 7058, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 52, sales tax District 3, parish roads and drainage. Need a motion? Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Any comment? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 17 is ordinance calendar number 7059, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 53, drainage parish-wide. I need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Ms. Casborn. Any comment? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 18 is ordinance calendar number 7060, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 54, sales tax District 3. District 4, Mr. Toledano. Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Ms. Casborn. No comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 19 is ordinance calendar number 7061, an ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 55, coastal restoration, coastal environmental. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Jimmy Davis. Seeing no comment, please vote.
Mr. Fitzgerald. The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 20 is ordinance calendar number 7062, an ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets amendment number 56, culture and recreation, coastal environmental. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion by, who was that?
Jimmy.
Mr. Jimmy Davis, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 21 is ordinance calendar number 7063, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets amendment number 57, buildings, general, camp, salmon facilities. I need a motion and a second. Who was that? Mr. T.J. Smith? Mr. T.J. Smith, and a second by Mr. Airy. Seeing no comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 22 is ordinance calendar number 7064, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets amendment number 56, utility operations, utility capital. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Mike Smith, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 23 is ordinance calendar number 7065, ordinance to amend the 2022 grants budget amendment number 8. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald, I think. Yes, sir. Okay, seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 24 is ordinance calendar number 7066, ordinance to amend the 2022 operating budget, amendment number 9. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Canulette, seconded by Mr. Airy. You good with that, Mr. Airy? Okay. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 25 is ordinance calendar number 7068, ordinance to authorize the execution of an amendment to the existing ambulance service agreement pursuant to LARS 33:4791.1 between St. Tammany Parish Government and Acadian Ambulance Service Incorporated for the provision of emergency and non-emergency ambulance services within specific areas of St. Tammany Parish. Mr. Canulette, so moved. Mr. Davis, Jimmy Davis makes the second. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 26 is
Motion by Mr. Toledano to postpone item ordinance number 7069.
okay. So I'm going to hear that, but I'm going to have to read it first. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Ordinance calendar number 7069, ordinance to impose a 6-month moratorium on receipt of submissions by the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission for the re-subdivision or rezoning of certain property and/or on the issuance of certain permits by the Parish Department of Planning and Development permits for the construction or placement of certain building structures on property in the area bounded by 11th Street, Harrison Avenue, Highway 59, Fire Tower Road, 5th Avenue, and Hellenberg Road. All is more particularly described herein and on the attached map, Ward 3, District 5. And Mr. Toledano, your motion is to postpone?
Yes, sir.
Till next month? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Toledano to suspend for 1 month, seconded by Ms. Casborn. Okay, and Ms. Amy Ibazawa, come on up, Ms. Amy. You're welcome.
I understand that it's probably going to be postponed, but my comments are on behalf of all the 4, 26, 27, 28, and 29 that were all, they're up for adoption tonight, but they were included in the consent calendar at the August meeting. And so we went and looked because I wasn't positive, but as I understand, and of course I can be mistaken, but as I understand, the moratorium ordinance that was adopted 2 years ago, September 3rd, 2020, states that when a motion to introduce is made at a regular council meeting, the council representative for the district in which the moratorium is proposed shall discuss the reasoning and justification for the proposed moratorium, present the initial timeline and process for addressing the basis of the moratorium, and respond to public comments and questions if applicable. Then there's other, at 3 months, there's a report that's required, and again at the renewal. So our concern really is just to bring this to the council's attention, because normally a consent agenda is routine procedural items that are non-controversial, and we feel that moratoriums shouldn't be lumped into procedural items, and you feel that way too, or at least 2 years ago you voted to adopt that ordinance. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention and to share with you that single-family new construction permits are down. The report that we got today from Ms. Karen, we're 280 permits less than we were at this time last year. The results of a building moratorium are unemployment, lack of housing, rapid inflation of buildable lot prices, and pricing many families out of the housing market. So, as you know, the HBA, we think that moratoriums should only be used in extreme cases within the confines of the law, which limits their scope and duration. So, I got a few more seconds. To remind you all, 1,431 homes in 2018 resulted in $17.1 million in sales tax. The parish council benefits a lot from building permits, and then the sales tax helps to make our parish, provides a lot of the services to our parish. So it seems like the moratoriums are hurting our parish. They're not helping it. We have some that have been on the books for over 15 years. And so we're asking that they not be put in the consent calendar anymore.
Okay. And
thank you.
So, Ms. Amy, let me make a brief comment, okay? Thank you for making us aware, okay? On our side, it's our mistake, okay? So it should have been pulled, no matter who the council person was. Right. And the comments made, okay? What we need to do is, ordinance introduction we need to leave on the consent calendar, but it's just part of the process. But we will be very aware when it says moratorium, we will pull it.
The councilman pull it.
Oh, no, we're going to pull it before the meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
We'll make sure to pull it before the meeting, and then that way, if we miss it, the councilman will know to pull it. Okay?
Right. And I know that that's going to get aggravating, but it's also kind of drive the point home that every month there's moratoriums introduced and moratoriums to be extended, and that's going to highlight, really an issue that I think is important to highlight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Toledano, would you like to give some comment on your reasons on this?
Well, I will.
Go ahead.
This time briefly, but let me just first acknowledge Ms. Ebersol's comment, and she's right. Quite frankly, it was my momentary belief that that record would be made at the time of the passage. Actually, a moratorium I did a few years ago was the first one we ever did this about. I wrote the first one. Yeah. So from a timing standpoint, I was incorrect in my assumption, and this fine lady properly identified that issue. And I had already identified it in an interim. Mr. Han and I had spoken about it. So thus one of the reasons why it was postponed. The other one is that this ordinance comes about in an area that's part of an area of critical concern because of drainage, and through no wrongdoing on behalf of the people that are concerned with this property, it appears from our engineers that a development in this stretch of land might cause a drainage problem in others. And nobody knew that, in fairness to anybody, until the issue arose vis-a-vis their effort to develop, and people to the north identifying an area of flood. Mr. Hill is presently studying that problem in order to determine what would be a solution that works for not only the builder on these properties, but for the surrounding area. So he is making a strong effort to look for a solution for that. And so the moratorium, if necessary, and I'll say for the record, the gentleman involved in this particular piece, have been very honorable in their doings with me, but this property is situated where other properties are adjacent, and no telling who would be involved. So the people I've dealt with have been very honorable about it, but nevertheless, that ordinance will nevertheless, that ordinance will be positioned in the event that it becomes necessary. But for the moment, that omission by her needs to be corrected, so we're going to correct it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Toledano. So with that, did we have a motion and a second? Mr. Toledano, postpone for 1 month. Who was the second on that? Mr. Fish?
1 month.
Ms. Casbon was the second.
Yeah, I was the second.
Okay. Mike, no, you're good. Did you need to talk about something else?
No.
Oh, okay, good. All right, please vote on a postponement.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Item 27 is ordinance calendar number 7070, ordinance to extend for 6 months the moratorium on the receipt of submissions by the Parish Zoning and Planning Commissions for the rezoning or re-subdivision of property and/or on the issuance of permits for construction or placement on any building structures on property south of I-12, north of Highway 190, west of Highway 11, and east of Precinct S19 boundary line within unincorporated boundaries of Ward 9 in District 14. Mr. T.J. Smith.
The moratorium requires, as was stated by the Home Builders Association representative, that we provide an explanation at this point concerning any progress that has been made during the last 6 months. And we provided you all with a copy of that explanation.
Yep.
And for the public's knowledge, because they don't have this written copy, I'd like to just read some of those points into the record. Number one, this moratorium is a part of a small area study. Just a little history here. In a neighborhood that we are doing we put together a plan with professional services being provided by an engineering firm to revitalize that particular community. One of the areas that we've made some progress in the last 6 months is dealing with traffic. And we, through the North Slidell revitalizations, Bayou Vincent Pond Road project, which is going to be a new road that's going to allow us to address some traffic issues in that community. It's going to be a connector road. That particular part of the plan, of the revitalization plan, has been submitted to the Regional Planning Commission that we now serve on, and to be placed on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan's highway projects list for funding consideration through the federal government. And we feel very good about that because in order to build anything, especially when you're talking about building connector roads anywhere, money is always the biggest issue. Also, as it relates to traffic, a traffic control measure has been developed by our engineering, public works, and parish council staff and is being considered for adoption tonight. Drainage, another issue identified in that community about this plan. The Bayou Vincent Retention Pond project, that particular project has been placed in the St. Tammany Parish construction bid process, and currently the land acquisition services contractor is reaching out to landowners to acquire property in order to in order to, that's going to be needed to build this retention pond project. And finally, we've had one request to vacate in part this moratorium, and that was approved during this period as well. So those are some of the things that have taken place in the last 6 months, and give you an update as to where we are and continue to move forward with the North Slidell revitalization plan. And with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adopt this ordinance to extend this moratorium for 6 more months.
Second by Mr. Candulet. Yeah. And I did just want to say, too, that I think this one and the next one actually predate our moratorium ordinance, so I don't know if it's necessarily included within it as far as at the introduction phase of it, but it'd be nice, obviously, if we could do that as well, too. Any other comments? Hearing none, to please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 4 absent.
Show me as a positive.
With the verbal yes from Mr. Toledano. 3 absent. Hold on 1 second.
When did we just do this one? 28. This is 27. All right. Ordinance calendar number 28, ordinance calendar number 7071, ordinance to extend for 6 months the moratorium of issuance of building or conditional use permits for construction or placement of building structures on property within a portion of unincorporated town of Alton subdivision, Ward 9, District 14. Councilman T.J. Smith.
Mr. Chair, we also are very proud to say that in the town of Alton, in District 14, that we have accomplished some milestones that we're proud of. One being a professional engineering firm by the name of Wingate Engineers has been secured and are on the job as we speak, and have presented to the community in a 3rd community meeting a plan outlining the scope of work and recommended revitalization program details, respectively. In that draft presentation that we made to the community of Alton, there were some short-term and long-term implementation goals that we have identified. 2 of the short-term happen to be a ditching plan, which I've given you a copy also of attached to this memo. And that ditching plan is something that we can do in-house and is, I think, going to be in the works within the next week or 2. Public Works Department, along with our engineering department, have identified this and agree that this is something that we can do right now to show the people that we're serious about this and that this is not going to take forever to begin. The second thing has to do with sidewalk enhancements in the Alton community. And that one also is in the stages of being drafted by the engineering firm so that we can present the final scope of work involving that one to the community. And in this month, we're going to meet with them one more time to give them the final outline of how that's going to roll out. That one's going to involve a little bit more finances, which we have a great partner with our grants department helping us to identify those funds, but we feel comfortable that we're going to be able to find them and move this forward. So with that being said, if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them. If not, I'd like to make a motion to extend this moratorium for 6 more months.
Any questions? Mr. Candulet seconded. All in favor, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Number 29, ordinance calendar number 7072, ordinance to extend for 6 months the moratorium on receipt of subdivisions by the Parish Planning and Zoning Commission for the re-subdivision or rezoning of certain property and or the issuance of certain permits by the Parish Department of Planning and Development, permits for the construction or placement of certain building structures on property in the area bounded by South Military Road, Galls Boulevard East, Amber Street, Lake Village Boulevard, Cross Gates Boulevard, Highway 1090, East Porters River Road, Porters River, West Pearl River, and DeBloom Branch, Ward 9, District 9. Councilman Mike Smith.
Okay, this is a continuation of a moratorium that I placed in this area because Military is bisected by Fremo, Gauze, Brown Switch, and then towards the northern end by the freeway. Each of those has extremely heavy traffic, particularly Gauze and Brown Switch. So we're having traffic problems up there now. One of the intersections is rated a C and a D. I also have, in various states of approval, houses being added to one subdivision right off Military, another smaller subdivision coming in off Military, and another subdivision which the exact count is still a little bit up in the air. But at any rate, we're going to be adding a lot more cars to Military coming in the future. I would like for this moratorium to stay in place until the road improvements have been put in to handle this extra flow before we start adding more development. The other aspect of this is the southern, and that hasn't changed. Nothing's changed in that regard. And I don't think that it's going to change anytime soon because these things are going to take time to do. The other aspect of this is in the southern side of the Military Road, there's a commercial development that's possible, but they would have to tie into Tammany Utilities. And I think it's pretty well documented that Tammany Utilities is in the process of trying to improve services and capabilities, and I don't think adding commercial property in that particular area would help that. I think it would aggravate the process, and it also add to the traffic. And I really thought I could get away without mentioning Tammany Utilities one meeting, but I guess that wasn't going to happen. So unless anybody has any questions, okay, I move we adopt. I mean,
motion to
extend.
adopt. Sure.
Sure.
Councilman Smith, what are there studies being done about the traffic or the road improvements?
There have been studies on the roads as far as the subdivision, one of the subdivisions planned where that particular point is, okay, Crawford Landing Road, okay, and there's a traffic plan that they have for that subdivision if it goes forward. Okay.
I guess my question is, you said it could take a long time.
Yes.
So that's really not what a moratorium should be used for. And if you don't think that a commercial building should be built in a certain spot, even that could be stopped by planning and zoning or by the council. But a moratorium is stopping all of the building in that area. And I guess that's what we're trying to differentiate. And if there's a study or road work that's happening or something besides traffic, we could just say, close the bridge because there's traffic and no one needs to build any more houses. That to me doesn't sound as specific as the guidelines of a moratorium should be. So I'm just saying that on my behalf. And since I'm here, I told Councilman Toledano that was not a criticism of him. It was just bringing up the ordinance because it's, that was for everyone, and I hope everyone understands that. And thank you for your studies and your updates, Councilman Smith.
Okay, I'd like to reply to that. There is a time frame once the construction begins. We don't know exactly what that is because the permits haven't been issued. Okay, approval hasn't been issued either. Okay, there's a time frame for improvements in Tammany Utilities. That's anywhere from 2 years to possibly 5 years. People have applied to have the moratorium lifted. They're certainly welcome to do that. I have lifted the moratorium for a few projects going forward. Okay, so I have to balance the interest and health and welfare of the people in the district, which I'm sure you would say comes first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I guess I would just rather specifically projects being turned down and no moratorium than a moratorium and specific projects being allowed in.
Right. I mean, there's projects that can go through here without us ever seeing them. They go right through the process, and I can't say that they're always helpful for the parish, and those may be ordinances that need to be changed. They don't ever go to planning and zoning. So until conditions change in this area, I'm going to try and maintain this moratorium for the foreseeable future.
Even 2 to 3 years, you're okay with that?
It just depends on what goes on. I can't speculate on that. I can't tell you it's going to be 2 to 3 years. I'm not a particular proponent of moratoriums, okay? I don't have any more other moratoriums in my district, and I have a pretty big district. But in this particular case, I thought it was warranted and still do.
Thank you so much for giving me your answers. I appreciate it.
Any other comments? Please vote.
Mr. Drum, Mr. TJ. All right, Mr. TJ, still waiting on you. The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
We're probably going to have to separate those two.
Ordinance calendar number 7073, number 30, and ordinance amending the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinance, Article XVII, Section 2-709, zoning changes relative to parish fees for development-related services. Jerry, would you like to move?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
In just a second. Second by Councilman Davis. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent. Sorry.
Number 31, ordinance calendar 7074, an ordinance amending the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Article 17, Section 35-1, closing, abandoning, revoking dedication of streets, roads relative to parish fees for development-related services. I can have a motion. It's parish-wide. Moved by Councilman Canulet, seconded by Councilman Drum. Please vote. Honorable.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Number 32, ordinance calendar number 7075, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana to reclassify a certain parcel located north of Jessicat Lane, west of Coconut Palm Drive and south of Interstate 12, Madisonville, and which property comprises a total of 19.152 acres of land, more or less, from its present HC2 highway commercial to an A3 suburban district, Ward 1, District 1. Councilman Dean? So moved. Councilman Fitzgerald, second by Councilman Casamon. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Number 33, ordinance calendar number 7076, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana to reclassify a certain parcel located at the end of Enrique Road, west of Highway 59, Covington, and which property comprises a total of 0.46 acres of land, more or less, from its present A1A suburban district to A1A suburban district and MHO manufactured housing overlay. Ward 3, District 2, Councilman Fitzgerald.
So moved.
Second by Councilman Davis. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Number 34, ordinance calendar number 7077, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets amendment number 59, sales tax District 3, District 5. Councilman Taldano. Second by Councilman Canulet. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Number 35, ordinance calendar number 7078, an ordinance to amend ordinance CS number 10-2222, adopted March 4, 2010, establishing a load limit 8 tons on that portion of Ben Thomas Road that is situated within unincorporated St. Tammany Parish, Ward 9, District 14. Councilman TJ Smith.
Move to adopt.
Second by Councilman Canulet. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Meeting to adjourn.
So moved.